But when he goes to sell it, because that it's not transferable, he's gonna have to take a hit. So, and the hearing officer agreed with him, so that went down. He actually went down below what he paid for it. He paid $980 for it and it's got a $960 assessment, and we had it at 1.2, so.
Do you think with this decision that we might face subsequent decisions in the same vein?
With other short-term rental people coming at us that way, he's the only one so far that has, and our take is that, well, we don't have any historical data to support your claim, nothing has sold that with, that issue. So I don't know, it's hard to say what will happen if one property sells for less than what they paid for it. Because of that, we might see, more people coming forward.
Okay.
But at that point, then Tom would adjust the assessments.
Correct, because the sales are going down anyway,
So they
exactly,
wouldn't have a basis for.
yeah, hopefully.
Who presided over this?
Oh, this guy he's from Paul, I can't even remember his last name. He was a retired attorney. He's out of Long Island.
Okay.
So it was done remotely. And then the only other thing was we went out with codes a couple of days on the lake with the boat to assess all the properties that are lake access only. Take pictures. We had not visited them within, we have to visit all properties within a 6-year time frame. So they were due. So one day we did all road access only, and the other day was all water access only. So now we're processing all of that data.
One request for next year that you do it on days like today rather than mid-70s.
It was, it was a really rough day at the office, both days. Right.
Should have been
Right.
a 3-hour tour.
But we were moving along and, we didn't dilly-dally. We got our job done and got off the lake. So that's really pretty much it.
Great, okay.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
So,
Darcy.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Roby, do you wanna?
Yes.
It was balls.
They have jackets.
Yes, you can, because it's a town board meeting. It is noticed by law.
I think.
I wanted to ask that question, but
He's a guest.
Yeah.
they'll notice in the town organization, to board meetings. Or
He doesn't like details.
So we could,
He didn't know that.
We had, we had sent the letter, reminder of the law, earlier summer, so then Roby has come a number of times, he was asked to participate.
Well, yeah, I was unfortunately, I guess, I was asked to participate on the Shoreline Association board.
Oh, right.
So,
Okay.
It's just for some background in 2018. Shoreline Association was concerned about the systems in the lake.
Yeah.
It was becoming an issue all over the state, the Northeast. And this board, in 2018, felt that it was necessary to put some type of septic system law in place.
Yeah.
That law was passed by the town board as well as the town of St. Armand. They passed the same law, and at that time, we paid for the town of St. Armand to any of those legal expenses to get that law in effect, because a portion of the north end of the lake is in the town of St. Armand, and it wouldn't make any sense for some people to be subject to the law and others not. So Delina had agreed, supervisor in the town of St. Armand, to work with the town. So we developed that law. And over time, Darcy knows this for sure, that there hasn't been as much cooperation as we would like on the lake.
From the shore.
From the shore, yes. And for years, we've we tried to have a pump out program for septic systems on the lake. This year, we only had 6 people that wanted to participate. It keeps getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
And it's primarily because people don't wanna pay. It's really what it comes down to. They'd rather turn their back on it and say, you know, it's a great law, it's good to have it, but I don't wanna do it. So I had done some research recently, and I left you all in your mailboxes. Notes that I found on septic systems. A number of municipalities, state and county of Warren County, town of Queensbury, town of Bolton, state of New Hampshire, they all just passed recent legislation modifying their septic system laws. And the primary thing that I find is that our law, although it made a lot of sense at the time, doesn't necessarily today, I don't think it works as well as it could. And one of the reasons is that the law gave our code enforcement officer a right to inspect. Okay, and one of the conditions of that of the right to inspect, one of the options was upon conveyance of a property on the lake, we can inspect upon conveyance. All of these new laws state that prior to a sale, a septic system must be inspected. And you cannot sell a property on the lake unless the septic system is in good condition, or if it's denoted as a failing system, that there is a compliance agreement in place with the seller. Which would mean that a seller could sell the property, but if there's a compliance agreement in place, the understanding is the new buyer would have to correct that septic system problem within X number of months. That, you know, that would be up to Darcy and the code enforcement officer to decide. It's not this, I'm not talking about a modification of the law, I'm just talking about a modification of certain language within the law to give it a little more teeth. And I know from being in the business that when people sell stuff, and you don't catch them, it's hard to get it corrected after the fact. It's a lot easier to correct it beforehand because they got a risk. They can't sell, they gotta have it corrected. Once they sell, they're gone, and it's the next guy's problem. So, you know, I guess one of my points is that I'd like to see a modification of that language in the existing law that says that the code enforcement office would inspect and sellers would have to have something inspected prior to their selling, not upon a conveyance. And the other thing and I think that Darcy will verify this, is that these programs don't work that well on a voluntary basis. And we found that people don't necessarily step up and say, hey, yeah, come on up and inspect my place. So I
There's
would.
generally a cost associated with it.
Yeah, exactly. I'd like to see it be on an involuntary basis. I'd like to see the code enforcement office and Darcy, I think, can tell you that the vast majority of septic systems on the lake that are boat access have not been inspected, or people haven't stepped up and said, come and inspect my septic system. And I think that especially there are quite a few septic systems where multiple users are pumping into one system. And some of those users may be renting their properties, you know, short-term rentals. And I have reviewed the list of lake owners, and it's incomplete, as you know, it's incomplete. But there are a number on the list that have failing systems that have been failing for 2 or 3 or 4 years, haven't been corrected. And I hate to see that, not only because it's I hate to see people just turn their back on something, but it's also our drinking water, it's our lake. And even though we don't live next door and we aren't necessarily drinking the water next door to them, it's still our water. You know, and it's important, it's an important resource for all of us. And it's the Lake Placid is just, you know, it's a reservoir and it's.
I think it's critical when other people are gonna be struggling for water, we're very fortunate where we are. So what I'm hearing is that you would like to have the language strengthened to be for a sale and for mandatory inspections. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I don't know how we would do that in terms of mandatory inspections. I'd like to see Darcy be able to, and the code enforcement office be able to say, you know, we have a list of 40 people that have not had their places inspected. We're gonna pick out 10 for next year. We're gonna notify them, we're coming up, we're inspecting your system. And if we start doing that for the people who don't volunteer, it's gonna get done a lot faster and we're gonna solve the problem a lot quicker.
So what would be the fine if that their septic is out of compliance?
The fine right now is $950 a week if they're notified and they don't correct. Is that correct, Darcy?
That's correct.
Do you think that's an appropriate amount? It is
Never
per
find
week.
anyone.
What's that?
We have,
Oh,
and
they actually fall, like.
we find
follow
one
through.
person who, it took them a little longer, they paid the fine, but it took them a little longer to correct the system. The other person that we find immediately contacted us and got a engineer on board. And they had to wait through the winter season, but corrected it immediately the next spring. So their fine was waived since they acted immediately and
How did you find those problems in order to find them?
I'm not sure how the one was found. Maybe the pump out person might have said there's a big problem here. And the other was with an inspection.
Jeremy did.
Yeah,
A lot of times
So
it's the neighbor.
someone volunteered
Yeah, so-
for the inspection. and
Yes.
then-
yeah, and then found, oh my gosh, this system is not up to snuff at
I
all.
was your
I was
suggestion
out there
of-
one day, about 3 years ago, and the guy just bought the camp, and he has a pump underneath the structure, and he thought it was being pumped up to a tank. It was on a ledge, so he couldn't even go up and check it out.
Yeah.
Derek and I went up, and it was pumping just on the top of the ledge, right into the open area.
So it sounds like, to me, like. Shouldn't we as a municipality have like verified that it's been inspected and then have sort of an interval for?
We have a list.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
Darcy
do.
has-
but we do it, it's been. But it's some sort of system of whether it's 5 years or like,
5 years for seasonal
Season.
residences and 3 years for year round.
but should we adjust that due to people renting and having more people, or do you feel like that might?
No, I think the basics of the law are fine. I just think that people need to know, look, you can't sell your property. We had one just the other day that I haven't mentioned to Darcy. I think that you went up and checked and there was a problem.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I think that if the lawyers and the realtors are on notice, and I've talked to the majority of them about this, and their response is. We even aren't even aware of it, you know, or they either forget or they don't, you know, it doesn't come to mind. But before you're gonna sell, you have to have it done, it's gonna come to mind because anything that's being sold is gonna be listed on an MLS, people are gonna know about it, that it's being sold, and Darcy's gonna know about it.
So one of your solutions, one is like upon sale. And then the
Prior
fine,
sale.
prior sale, and then the fines that are able to motivate, but there are some that hold the camp for some time, and you're saying every 5 years.
That's what the law says.
Yeah.
But whether we've applied, or we've been.
We do, but there's a mechanism, it's still voluntary right now, so if someone doesn't sign up and it's been 5 years. Sure, we can reach out and say, hey, we'd really like you to volunteer for this inspection.
And that's what you're speaking to, is now switching
Maybe
that from involuntary to voluntary.
mandatory.
You ain't gonna volunteer anymore, you're gonna,
Right.
we're coming.
Yeah.
It seems to be. a
And we're gonna
resource
check
which
and
is-
see if it's got a problem. And, you know, that's the only way you're gonna resolve it, because otherwise everybody's gonna turn their back on you.
Mhm.
And it's not gonna not gonna get solved.
So Darcy, you're set with language and.
I'm comfortable with so we do have two spots where it does say prior to, and then there's the one spot where it says upon conveyance, which doesn't say prior to, so I would like that to be tweaked. And yeah, the change to a mandatory inspection, pump out. A pump out or inspection,
All the laws that I gave you in your package,
yeah,
the fines all range from $500 to $950.
So
They're all
I
the
think
same.
our 950 is good and.
Yeah.
I feel like we've always had the sort of basis of, it's not really about the fine, we want someone to correct whatever the violation is for anything, so, hey. Put the $950 towards getting your system done.
Sure, but that $950 or just under $1,000 per week is a motivator. to-
Sure. Yep.
Absolutely, that's it, if they want.
All right, I hate to cut.
Yep.
it off.
Okay, so,
Thanks, Ray.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So that's what you're gonna move that language that we're asking, right? She's gonna present the language.
so if Mark is
Yeah,
here, that might be a great opportunity to, Mark would like to tweak these couple things.
It's pretty easy with the legislature, they're almost all the same.
Yeah.
Every one of these municipalities, they're basically the same. I think it'll help Darcy a lot, but it would be better for the lake and never for all of us.
Thanks for pointing
Good
that.
to see you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
See for the rest if you want to see what.
Very good. I got two other quick things. We had sent a letter, we have a spot available on the review board. We're making a recommendation, and if anyone had any questions, we're happy to talk about that, or if not, okay. And then had so this maybe STR software switch that we're talking to, changing to our host or cloud permit. Any other thoughts about this? I know we had a little discussion about the hotline, some tweaks were made. I would still like it to be thought about in a bigger picture. What if a person is not available on, hey, we know this is the busy time, what if a person isn't available? What are we doing then? So I don't want
I
it
mean, as
to.
far as the contact person,
We had talked about maybe some kind of hotline in our office.
okay, no, I didn't.
Cell
thought you
phone,
meant if someone.
yeah,
if a
not
person-
the
not the
emergency
contact, okay.
contact, but if we were going with an answering machine, something in the office. Or someone takes a cell phone.
Yeah.
Home with them on the super busy nights or times when we think it would be busy. If that person is not available, what's happening after that?
Well, then we basically revert to what,
Yeah, don't you
Just-
think that voicemail message is what they answer? It's like, it basically says if this is an immediate problem.
Yeah,
call
yeah.
911,
and I
if
did
not-
like number two,
Okay,
I did like number two better.
any option,
But we're putting on the website too and making it searchable, right? And not having a PDF. but
Right.
actually having it
Yeah,
on the
Britt,
web.
a second email.
I think Britt's working on
Yeah.
that.
So it's, you can type in the address instead of searching
Yeah.
through the actual document that's on the
Yeah,
webpage.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
weird thing is always that people, you don't know your neighbor's address, like you know your own address. And
Sure.
you might think, oh, they're two down, but then it's not, so it's always
Yeah.
weird that way.
Well, I think that's what we talked about, I think we just need to encourage people to know it.
Yeah,
And like I said, I
Yeah.
want to. One thing I'd like to see is, we talked about that day was, right now it's what? It's next door and immediate.
yeah,
I think it should be expanded because
Mhm.
obviously sound travels,
it does.
so
What do
whatever.
you mean, what's immediate?
Like
What-
adjoining neighbor, we
They-
kind of said, hey, make sure your adjoining neighbors
Neighbors.
know who your emergency contact is, but maybe it's not just adjoining, maybe it's two properties on all sides.
I've
of
got
you.
5 properties in my drawer
Well, so there.
with
yeah.
the name and the number.
Okay,
So just in case, I don't wanna be going on the website at midnight.
yeah,
And that's, like I said, one of the ones that people contacted me,
yeah,
it actually was on an adjoining street,
yeah,
that,
okay,
maybe 100 yards away.
I'm just saying,
Might be.
speaking of voluntary things, no short-term rental owner is actually going to call their neighbors and say, this is the emergency contact.
yeah, I know.
No.
So it doesn't really matter
Well,
what
we
you
could-
say,
well, we
they're
could-
not gonna do it.
Well, we could explain we could put something out explaining,
Mhm.
once we come up with a new system, and encourage homeowners.
Yeah,
to
so you could say, it says encourage.
Encourage,
Yeah.
no, encourage actually the homeowner, not the short-term rental owner, we could notify them and change of any change. But we could also encourage put something out to the public saying, encourage, you within a, I don't know, 200-yard radius or 100-yard radius, let's say, you've got
Look it
four-
up yourself,
Look it up.
kind of,
four of them.
okay,
Just in case something happens.
yes.
Know that house there is whatever, 1, 2, 3, whatever.
I wonder if a GIS map where you just plug in with all the short-term rentals and you can just. I'd have to have a conversation about what the logistics of that, if
Right.
it's reasonable, so.
Yeah, and then the notification to owners, I think is just a heads up that like your emergency
Yeah.
contact is going to be published publicly.
Yeah,
And so make sure that's a valid person and a valid number.
Yep.
And also we encourage you and suggest that you reach out to your neighbors with your emergency contact.
And again, within X number of properties or X distance, 100 yards, 50 yards, whatever.
I think it just can say encourage you to notify your neighbors because it's
Then they're
on
gonna go,
them.
then they're gonna do just like they're supposed to, minimally, and go
They're
next
not gonna do
door.
anything. You have so much
Not.
people. It's talking, no one does
I'm
anything.
trying.
yeah,
But no, but not right now, we do say that your immediate neighbors or your bordering neighbors or whatever, we should say something or change the description or whatever. you
There
wanna
is no
say.
description of anything.
I thought there was.
No.
something said-
No. None of that exists.
I thought it
Because
did.
it exists in your mind, that's.
A lot of things exist in my mind and everything, like so.
And some of
So
them
is-
stay there, some of them share.
we would still like conceivably a January 1 kind of rollout, so then
Yeah, I think that's.
timing is a little more critical maybe to,
Yeah, and I think it's just a communication piece, I mean,
Yeah.
and in terms of publicly facing, not that much is gonna change, assuming that there's an office cell phone that's
Right.
being answered.
Yeah.
So it's just a new number,
Yeah.
and then a new online complaint portal.
Yeah.
Which I don't think anyone really uses the online complaint portal either.
very rarely.
And then a notification to the owners
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
there's a new emergency
Yeah,
contact.
as far as somebody taking the phone home or whatever, that's.
Yeah,
We're saying January,
That's a good idea.
so January first, we're thinking of January first launch, so that we need to
Yes.
overlap it, have both of them operational and overlapping right now, so we can transition people, that's what.
correct.
I did notice that some of those emergency contact, one of them is like Merrill Thomas's landline. So
So-
one of them is like Coldwell Banker's like hotline, I'm like, come on, these are not emergency contacts.
The interesting thing, I will speak to two that I know of, if you call there, it'll say blah, 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 at the end or towards the end, it'll say, if you have a short-term rental emergency, please contact, and they tell you who to contact.
But the thing is, it's meant for renters having an emergency.
Well, we've had people use it, so, because I also said the same, oh, you can't be calling Margie, the 3333
Yeah.
number, but it actually does say.
I mean, I guess if it
Who to
gets
contact.
gets it done, then that's all
Or-
we care about.
Or they might have somebody that is, like, they're forwarding their answering machine calls to somebody else. Because I did have a agent say, hey, I got the call and I responded,
Yeah.
so.
With Merrill Thomas, it goes to like their rental agent on duty, but
Okay.
that rental agent on duty is technically, what they're on duty for is like if the dishwasher is not working, like it's not meant for like a neighbor to complain about something. But it's not like they wouldn't answer the phone, so maybe you get to the same end result.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're not encouraging like local business, like a part of me wants them to have to pay someone
That's right.
to
Yes.
encourage like
Yes.
local business.
But the person that fixes the dishwasher probably is the contact.
Well, but it goes to Merrill Thomas agent, like,
Right, but-
and
But wouldn't that agent then contact? They're not
they
gonna
would
go
probably
and fix it.
contact the owner.
Either
Like
way.
if it was like a noise complaint or a parking
Yeah.
complaint, so yeah, it still gets
It's
to
gonna
the
get there,
end.
but
Yeah.
Yeah,
through the back
Yeah.
door.
yeah.
Well,
We'll see.
okay,
The first time it doesn't work.
Yeah.
yeah, okay, sorry,
Thank you.
thank you.
Stronger. Just be careful.
Yeah.
That-
Kenneth?
I'm good, long time no see, how are you? I just need to make it today.
Well, you're always on vacation. You're always on vacation.
I'm a busy.
Okay.
All right, you two.
You know my story, I'm a busy guy, we are finishing, we're halfway through hauling our sand right now,
You know, it's gotten 2 phone calls.
yeah.
why are these trucks going to Wilmington over and over again? I said, hop in and take a ride, you'll see.
Yeah, really,
Yeah.
exactly.
Fun times right there, yeah.
Trust me, they don't like doing it either.
No.
No, as it took a little while, to kick them in the seat to get rolling there, cause nobody wants to sit in a truck there, but anyways. Yeah, that's getting accomplished while we're still in limbo with our paving that we haven't done this year, which is,
Is, speaking of paving, is Snowberry still on the list?
yes,
Okay. I got a phone call back.
well. And
I figured it was.
it's funny you should mention, 'cause here we are, right now, the way it sits, at the end of next week. They're gonna possibly Thursday, Friday, start our project, you may have to take a day off, go back to Saturday and finish. Then come back, but that being said, if we get too far into October. Without anything being done, I'm gonna pull the plug.
Yeah.
Because,
They're gonna start closing down.
well, yeah, I mean, the plant will close, but you know, it's also ground temperature, and if you got any type of, you know, we're gonna get some cold nights, there'll be condensation on the ground. Oil and water does not mix, so that's gonna be a no-go, so that
Okay.
being said. Talk to Kathy, possibility of rolling that over into next year, at least the funding for the asphalt, the labor rate may change at some point, but I think that Craig's gonna have to go good on
Yes, I think so.
something
Yeah, that's
to make this work out. It won't happen again. We used to own a paver years ago, the town did, and I'm gonna try to do my own paving this next year. Rent a paver and do some secondary roads ourselves, and if we can do it successfully, then. Maybe in the future, Louis from Wilmington, their highway superintendent's kind of interested. And maybe, you know, going 2 years down the road, if it works out. Split the cost of a paver, we'll help them pave, they help us pave, and you know, rent a paver for a month and we'll do their roads, they'll help us with our roads and. Which we do anyways, you know, we have Wilmington helping us on one.
Well, just throwing this out, if it's two towns doing it. What's the expense of buying one?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't.
No,
Especially when you're living out. alone.
No. I'll send it back to the company, let them
No, that's what I
refurbish it, get a
thought.
nice
I'm just
clean
thinking
machine.
You know, because, you know, other than a month, it's gonna sit, maybe a month, a year, it's gonna sit. But if we can share the purchase price with other ones,
That's a
all I'm throwing that out.
possibility, but
That's what I
sitting
mean.
was what killed our machine, cause then you get, it's almost impossible to protect your electrical from like the rodents and whatnot, and. Went from electrical issues to hydraulic issues, and I'd rather not have a machine sitting for 8 months.
No, that's the thing.
Sitting is the worst thing for any piece
Yep.
of equipment that you have. So,
Just assuming that you're not gonna get to it, I'm assuming
Come on.
it's over.
be an optimist, Jason.
But how much are you gonna add on to your load next year, like,
Minimal,
you know,
yes,
how much time do you think?
Week.
So just an actual week of paving.
yes, and I think I would aim to get it done sooner. Than later, the more, asphalt's more accessible as soon as they open up, May, June, and that being said, like, people may have to wait an extra week or so to have their roads swept.
Mhm.
So I'll be the bad guy for another week or so, but that's fine,
No, you'd be
you know, what I mean,
amazed.
get in line and, yeah.
You communicated, and I felt like in the town, it was much more well received, and people were aware of when the roads were being cleaned and swept.
Right.
Versus, and I know the village is getting better at that, but the town itself did that.
Yeah,
So maybe
we
knew.
try, yeah.
Oh, that's not.
Yeah, and I think that being said, if you notify everybody, hey, you know,
Yeah.
and here we are,
Mhm.
but if you can get asphalt, or if you can get your contractor here in a timely fashion, then that early summer to get it done before they get super busy. He said he'd have better luck doing it sooner than later.
Was there an RFP date? In the RFP, was there a date?
No, I mean, there was a date after, but not a before, because they were kind of trying to get past the events to start paving, get past the
But there
cross.
it was for this year though, so
Yes.
Yeah.
they should have scheduled better too.
Yeah.
The other thing is the village
The
pays.
weather has really kicked them right
Yeah.
behind this year with
The
that.
village paves in the spring, do they haul for you?
Yes, the village law, of course, generally.
So just take.
Well, they, you know, the village, I mean, with their budgets at a different time frame, they get their budgets in the fall. Either they squeeze it in at the end of the year or they take place of fall and summer. We beat them to death, I think.
Yeah.
And whether it happens or not, I think by the end of this week, he'll have a firm answer. I've been speaking with Craig on every Friday just to say, where we at, and he said, looks like the next Friday, I'm gonna come over and get started anyways. Like,
You didn't wanna talk to me about it the other day.
no, I know, yeah.
Is this,
I saw
is this,
Craig and he didn't wanna talk.
He's one that doesn't bid, he's like the project on the project. For what brother?
Oh,
Front of me, I got on, we're working on the columbariums, concrete, we ordered concrete, which. For the small amount that we're getting, that's what was a holdup. We'll have that Monday, run the schedule here Monday, they're gonna come pour those. Shouldn't take too long after that to set up and get those set up, but I do have our current cemetery rules, regulations. I'll neaten up a little bit and get to somebody here. Talking with Rick, we should follow suit kind of with St. Agnes, a price line of their plots are a little bit more expensive and their grave openings are identical to what we have, but I think it should be apples to apples within the town here. St. Agnes is selling their plots for 600 locally and we're at 4, and I think we should increase our rates to 6 just to be.
still want to cut them.
No, I think we should undercut them. There's some point of being in a public center.
Shouldn't-
It could be
yes.
closer.
Yes.
I think the amount
It's
of
just impure taste.
the labor that we're putting into
I'm
our
not saying-
cemetery for the perpetual care is kind of kicking us.
No,
guys are-
but we are,
buying now.
we are public as opposed to private.
What's that?
We are public as
Yeah.
opposed to private.
So, you know,
We sure are.
So, I mean, I agree with, this is hard for me to say too, I agree with Emily.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why people.
That
choose
being said, but if we
public.
increase the rates.
That's true. That's fair.
I think it should be increased.
Hang on a minute. Let me finish my sales pitch here.
So then don't hesitate.
Like St. Agnes, they kind of spelled it out later here, the cost of your plot is this, the grave opening is this. Now we have the option of the columbarium, which is a great, and if you can divert them from buying the grave to the columbarium. You're gonna make you're gonna make more dollar per square foot
Yeah.
up there,
True.
right?
Yeah.
Winter burial, which we can do in columbariums.
Yeah.
I'm not saying to force them into columbariums, but make it so it's a real competitive price.
Incentivize them.
Right, instead of like, it's cheaper to be full burial, no, let's make it really close, like, should I buy the columbarium or give them like that third option of cremation, full burial and columbarium?
Yeah, no, I think we should increase it. Emily, I think we should become closer to it. To St. Agnes.
But
So it's $200, we're gonna do 450, 500. I mean, I'm just throwing this out here, but.
Yeah, I mean, I'm comfortable with 450 or 500. I just think that the whole point of having public cemeteries have a lesser
Right,
cost than the
that's
county
it.
cemetery.
Cause they were, you said there's
That's
6,
true. That's
there's 6,
They're 6.
I'm comfortable with 5, I mean 455.
I think we can, I mean, just like say that everything else has gone up and
Oh, yeah,
for
no.
perpetual care and what we do, the amount of work that you do all summer up there.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm a salesman, that's why I say
No, I
buy,
don't know.
sell,
Yeah.
force them into the columbarium.
No, I think
This
it's,
building is.
no,
Huh?
Perfect.
no, on both thoughts. Yes,
Yes.
give them a break with the columbarium, and if they wanna
Well, you
apply.
can't give
They
them break,
said-
but you split the cost.
Won't incentivize.
No, I mean, no,
Yeah.
give them a break over.
Oh, yes,
That's what I mean,
okay.
give a break over a plot, and the plot, and so the plot can be higher, but I still say it should be compared to St. Agnes.
You guys rule the roost, man, I'm so.
No, that's our thoughts. This is, this.
We do need to update, 'cause we still got winter burials in our current
Oh.
flyer here, I just crossed some stuff off that doesn't
Yeah.
need to be there, and there's also a sentence in here that says, you know, if you bury on a Sunday or holiday. There's an additional fee, well, it doesn't state what the additional fee is, and I think we should establish. What that additional fee is. And I think it's gotta cover the man's overtime, I mean, that's regardless, so I mean, you're looking at least $200 to $300.
Okay.
So maybe that's something in the organizational minutes to adjust.
Right,
Each year,
right, I'll make notes and I'll email you all a copy of this,
Yeah, no,
there's
it's
a
not,
couple typos in here too.
no, it's just like, no, your overall reason for a lot of this is to cover costs, so yes.
Yeah, I mean, you give them a call out 4 hours at overtime to go do a burial on a Sunday and it's,
Can't you just leave it till Monday?
oh yeah,
Defaults?
that's my thought, burials Monday through Friday.
Well, the thing is, if.
It don't work like that.
But if we're,
Sounds like a European.
but if there's an additional fee of $200,
Interesting.
I'll bet you 90% of people are gonna say, oh, wait.
Wait.
Right.
They may. I mean, that's, I mean, I think it just needs to be spelled out. If
No,
we're
it's
gonna-
fine.
I think Rick's kind of spearheading the columbarium language or whatever you're gonna advertise this, but maybe it's now time to incorporate the two.
Yeah.
Yep.
In
Oh,
one
yeah.
page and
Yep.
spell everything out that's
Yeah,
gonna
we
be taking
had
place out at cemetery.
major, somewhat of a setback with that, but I'm working on it.
Come on. Okay. My wife and I are kind of working on, more her than I, down at the transfer station, we had a guy trying to bring in larger body wood from trees, which we,
Yeah.
in the past, it's always been like a 6-inch diameter or less considered brush free. We talked to the Paul Mitchell guy that does our grinding, he said he'll take that one until it's big, like substantial trees. As long as you don't have like the barrel ends where they flute out at the bottom towards the tree stump. They're cut off square, no crotches, so it goes so it's kind
Okay.
of easier. It does slow them down a little bit, but I think we should establish, Shannon's kind of working on it. You know, different, but we'll figure it out. Brush rate. Tree rate.
Yeah, she
I
mentioned
say,
it.
and coming with it, coming in with a truckload of trees, it's gonna cost you a little more, cause it takes the guy longer to grind. And we gotta pay the guy to grind, so I mean, you have to up the charge. a little bit.
Is she looking at the size of the load or the actual load? In other words, if somebody comes in with, 12-inch and says, okay, I've got 10 6-foot logs of 12-inch.
Well, I think you're just gonna determine similar what you do with a brush, you get a load of brush in a pickup, or is it in a single axle dump
Yes.
truck, and if you got any larger body wood, you're gonna be charged wood rates. I can't see where it's gonna be like this astronomical price, but you only charge like $50, I think, for a dump truck load. Maybe it should be 75 or 100 if
Yeah.
you're bringing in body wood, I mean, the guy's still gonna run it through a grinder, and just,
Yeah.
end product's all the same, just takes a little more time doing.
That's right.
As we discussed, very rarely does a residential person.
Oh, yeah, no.
It's usually a contractor, the contractor then throws the price back on it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so, sure, like I say, I would keep your smaller vehicles, if they come in with a car or pickup truck load, I would keep that the same, but anybody has the mini dumps of 1 tons or dump trailers that are doing it for profit.
As long as we have an objective way of.
Yeah.
You can say that, but if you're bringing in a larger product, you're gonna pay more.
The person grinding, he charges, let's say the town, so to speak.
Yes,
And then we need to identify what he would charge for what, and then up it.
he just charges us by the hour to grind, he comes here on an annual basis, which is soon, usually end of October, November, Paul Mitchell letter.
Looks like he's got haircut.
And but like I say, if you're gonna have larger wood, it's gonna take them longer to do it. I mean, a set pricing, I mean, we can't. My crystal ball don't work.
So I was just saying, if he charges a flat rate, and if he grinds it for 8 hours, he grinds it for 8 hours.
Yeah.
So. Depends on how.
But it's got-
It's usually more like 20 or 30, usually here 3-4 days solid of grinding.
And it might add, depending on how much we had, it might add, 2 hours on it.
Right,
Okay.
right, for what it's worth, I mean, I don't see a lot of it happening.
No,
But also. It's just gotta be fair, I guess, across the
yeah.
board, I mean, if you're, we shouldn't have to pay more because of, I mean, it should be. We should be able to collect more because
Yeah.
of,
and not that Shannon's not, and you aren't considering, but we need to come up with exact measurements. And if somebody does bring in a lower part of a tree, it's that much.
I think it's just, once you get over like a 6-inch diameter, what we always consider a brush, now it's a tree.
Okay.
And whether it's a tree, that's gonna be charged a tree load,
Okay.
it would, I mean, whatever that flat rate is,
So anything over 6,
sure.
you don't wanna have other.
Right, we're not splitting atoms by any means,
No, no.
but come up with, yeah, I think just keep the brush what we always had it classified as the same, but once you get above that,
Just keep it.
about 6.
I mean, just throwing it out, not only that, but length too.
Right, yeah. He'd prefer them cut up, he says I can do them whole, but if they were cutting
Yeah.
shorter lengths, yeah,
Touch on the other subject too,
I don't know what the others look good.
Casella.
I don't know, I'm talking about that one here. Casella, yeah,
It's just a trial.
that's my wife's game. We should really talk to her, but anyways.
Invited her here.
Yeah.
You're
Could have invited her here.
You're the boss, go for it.
She don't. Casella has approached the town, and I think they talked to Derek first, and then when they talked with Shannon. They would like to start bringing some garbage here. Larger quantity, like they're talking like 30 tons a week. That's pretty big. I mean, that's a pretty big number. That's almost another full trailer per week. They're asking for a discounted rate to bring that amount of garbage here.
Are they gonna pass it on to their customers?
Well, yeah, but they don't have to come here and it's not, actually, it's, there's no labor involved. They come in, dump garbage, push in a trailer, you send it out, you make $1,500 every time they come here. That's like $70,000 a year for them just bringing garbage.
See, that's what I want to say is, you know. Is.
But it would have to hit a certain amount is what we're saying.
Have to hit a
If
certain
it's
amount.
less.
Yeah.
Then you're not gonna get.
And
that's the
keeping it
discussion.
halfway between what we charge and what transfer station and clear
Look,
charge.
yeah, okay.
So it's, but anyhow, that's preliminary.
So it's just essentially just making money as a pass through, is that?
Yeah, they just come dump garbage but the downfall there is, can the county keep up
Yes.
with that additional truck
Yeah.
a week is gonna, you know. Cause right now they have a hard time, they're supposed to have three trailers on hand and half the time you're lucky, you always have one, but you're lucky if you got two on.
Well, okay, we'll talk, just go to 2 seasons, summer, non-summer. How many trailers are going out in a week?
Questions. I think we're pretty consistent up here. There's not a lot of downtime up here. I
Wouldn't it
mean,
be-
there's a little lull right now, but
How
it's
many trailer loads are you shipping out?
at least 3 a week right
3
now.
a week right now, or in summertime, maybe 4,
Oh, 4 or 5, yeah.
4 or 5, okay.
So you're looking at 6.
Yeah, so I mean, that's not, I mean, that's not, I mean, as long as they're available.
No, and I mean, and at 30 tons per week. At the current rate of what they're paying lake clear to here, it would equate to like a profit for us for another $70,000 just by letting dump garbage here.
That's what I want to hear.
Right.
And it's not even really staying here.
Sorry to bring that up.
And like I say, if it's recycling and all that crap, it'd be a different story.
Oh, yeah.
Or now you're increasing our labor, but just to come in and push a button and put it in a trailer and drive away with it, it's kinda. I'm not saying yes,
What's
that's,
the benefit for Casella? Did they get to dump it? What's the benefit to Casella?
Mileage.
yeah,
They just, cause it's what they're collecting here.
yeah, they're collecting here, they like to dump here, so they've been transporting it down. It'd save them fuel and labor cost, like hour there, hour back.
All right, what else you got?
Must be beneficial, fiscally beneficial.
You know, I'm going home.
He's a move along guy.
I'm just looking.
Oh, yeah, you are. Yeah.
Unless it's like the start.
Thank you.
I'll email you documents here.
Oh, yeah.
Supporting documents, good seeing you.
It's
available.
Well, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Okay, I'll try to be short and sweet, we're cutting down time, you still have Kathy, so.
We'll cut her off.
We'll start from the Craigwood and work our way in, Craigwood Open happened. I think we're all set on that, it was a little snafu, but Kathy and I figured it out. We closed for the last couple of days for deep tining, aerating, top dressing, all that fun stuff, it's all said and done and opened back up, everything went well. We used a deep tiner on our own this year. We used to pay a company out of Troy to come up, do it for us, cost this year would have been about $4,600. So I have $4,600 savings just in that piece of equipment and having it, so. Hopefully we can transition that savings onto lacrosse fields, that was the other secondary point of getting set a piece of equipment. Obviously you see everything going down at Horse Show Grounds. Those guys work in pretty crazy ways, but we did remove a vault or a transformer, if you will. It's been moved. Kim and I talked a little bit more today. We'll get a finalized location from Alan, and it looks like as long as it's not too far away from where it is, we should be able to, well, not we, they will be able to pay for it to be put in place.
Okay,
Um,
and it's something, and it's a place that's mutually agreeable.
yep,
Why
it's
does it have to move?
because it'll be inside the ring.
Oh, the ring is expanding that much,
A
or
little,
the
it's-
orientation is changing.
The ring is expanding a little bit to the point where the transformer would have been part of the ring.
Okay.
Like a accent corner, as you will.
So they're going from one Grand Prix ring to 200 rings, so. A little bit.
On the right hand
Yeah, what
side.
used to be the Grand Prix ring, which was the grass ring, it'll be a vertically split,
All weather,
bermed,
200
all
rings.
weather, 200 rings, and in that far left corner, you would have found. a transformer instead of flowers and.
There's something
pretty
that
things.
we could have offered that the other ones couldn't, so I think that's a bonus.
Yeah, come look at our transformer box. After today's meeting, I had a little sit down with Jim Morganson, to maybe cool him a little bit.
As well.
I just made sure with him, since he has his little committee, and I know it's ours, but I don't wanna do anything outside our bounds. And I know the guys have been asking to want to touch up that area. Jim went down today and gave me his blessing for us to do a lot of things down there that we've been waiting, and wanting to do. I just don't wanna upset him, cause I know how he is. So, we're gonna start on that when time permits it and try to pretty up or polish that up as best.
This is
as possible.
removing the split, whatever it splits, what do you call it?
That's just a regular terrible fence, and that we look to replace that with one that isn't so awful. Getting rid of all the cedar stumps that are there, getting rid of all the small brush growth and saplings. Fixing the gas box that's just ripped apart, because they ripped it apart to fix it, to torch it up and turn it on, and then they just left it.
Yep.
And then maybe pressure washing the walkway so you can see the rings in it and all that fun stuff. It's not a lot, but you know,
I think
again,
it will go a long way.
it will go a long way, Jim, and I told Jim that, I said, once we're said and done, I'll let you know, come take a look at it. It'll be totally different location. Other things down there, we're gonna start, I'm still waiting, Kathy knows, I'm waiting on a few quotes, but I have a few quotes for lumber. To fix all of our rotten, disgusting picnic tables and start making some new Adirondack chairs for our locations, not only out there, but. Like to get rid of some of the benches that we have at the beach that are those plastic ones where you slide lumber through and
Oh, yeah.
they're all bent out and faded out. If you like to do something of
That's
around
nice.
that chair that we could put there, and obviously it would have to be bolted to the ground. But waiting on that quote for that and the lumber to fix all the white wooden posts that have the chip paint all over them, all around there, so hopefully that comes in the next couple of days, maybe tomorrow. The beach, we went ahead and we had to add a bunch of sand, we're low on sand in the beach, we removed 6 massive boulders that were being pushed up in the beach area. We added a bunch of sand to the playground area and beach so that we could level that out and be ready for next season, so it's not something we have to rush to in the summer, or in spring, I should say, so that's all done. Pickleball courts are a mess. They went in, they put up the barrier, as you will, so that we could do ones and dusts. It's not gonna work, I knew it wasn't gonna work.
Who's they?
Scott and Trevor went in and did it, and it looked nice.
We, not they.
Yeah, okay, we did it. So problem is we lock up pickleball courts, people go in and knock over what has been done. It's not gonna be sufficient enough to hold any material. Never thought it was going to be, but you know, we had to rush it. I'd like to do it the right way. I wanted to meet with Rick either today or tomorrow, and I don't mind if anybody else wants to come down and listen to what I have to say for landscaping the area. And it's gonna take time and a small amount of product, but it'll be done the right way and not this way.
You're hoping to have that done before like winter comes, or like?
It'll probably be more of a spring situation, you know, getting the materials, getting a lot of it laid out and being finished in the spring.
Since Derek was so passionate about that, I think he should maybe be.
Yeah, no, I
included
just,
as well.
since you're here, I want you to come and see it so that I can remove it, because right now, as it stands, I feel as it's more of a hindrance and possibly could
Right.
add to an injury versus, so if you have some time tomorrow,
Okay.
let me know and I'll meet you there. Almost done with the lacrosse fields, Jim's done with everything except for top dressing. The sand and everything should be in, I think either today or tomorrow, so you can top dress the goal areas and center areas, and the fields will be ready to put to bed and blown out here by Northeast Irrigation. We do have a couple controller unit issues with our zones for irrigation. Jim is gonna get me that information so I can get it ordered and fixed. Newman Park, we're gonna get everything ready to go, but that's not gonna be, that'll be a spring job where we remove all the sand and all that fun stuff and fill it in. It's gonna require either us working with Kenny to do it and he's behind. And I'd really like to use Chris because of his capabilities in the machine. Kenny and I have talked a few times and it's with the paving and this and that and the weather kind of falling back. So spring, before we clean up all the sand, maybe the time that happens. Insurance is aware of it. They actually have zero expectations of us doing it, so. Moving on from there, I got a couple small things. I have had some people reach out, not only a couple of our employees, but a couple people walking through the parks. Can we look at doing something with a parks, no smoking, tobacco free zone? It's not just cigarettes, it's people in there smoking weed.
Well, that's what's good, that's what's bringing it all.
Yeah.
All this to service.
The law is you'd have to ban smoking, because you
Ban
can't
smoking.
smoke.
Yes,
You
ban
can't smoke in
cannabis.
parks.
What's that?
You already can't smoke in.
you
parks.
can't, it's just the signage getting it up.
In the village, right?
In the village, but do we have that for the town as well?
You can't, I think Newman Park has a sign that you can't smoke. I mean, that's crazy that people are smoking in parks, but
Yeah,
maybe that people don't smoke when I'm there. with
I
kids.
got a call just
I
yesterday
find it very.
from Trevor, who was working there doing the sand, and he said, there's 4 people over on the bench across the way smoking. And I'm here doing the sand and there's 5 kids playing on the swing set. I was like, okay, yeah, so just want to address that, and if we're cool with it, I'll find some signage and we'll put up some nice posts and.
Yeah.
Kenny can help you with signage too. From the
Yes,
county.
yes. So I do have something that Kathy and I talked about. We have a lawn ornament, which is the John Deere tractor down at the horse show grounds that hasn't moved in 7 years. One day I got it running to move it. John Deere is willing to take it as trade along with 2 UTVs out at Craigwood that are trash. Give us 10,000 for the 3 units and towards a trade or a purchase of a Gator. The remaining money would be $4,555.18, which Kathy said that we do have in the budget and to move forward with that. That would get rid of 3 pieces of equipment that are gonna become. One's already scrapped.
Well, for one thing, I mean, just asking, but we do need a gator.
It would be replacing 2 units currently that you can do some things with one and some things with the other.
To stay at Craigwood.
Yes,
And then you also put in a request for another new one for next year, right?
but that was for horse show grounds because that 13 or 14-year-old unit is on its way out. And they had 0 interest in that. So,
That sounds like a pretty good deal.
it is, I've got it here, if you guys wanna take a look at it, I'll leave it with you, I've got plenty of copies, we do have Zach's old Dodge truck.
Yeah.
I'd like to send it over, I should say, to Evergreen or Upstate or whoever it is. For a diagnostic, we're having a severe issue with the emissions of it. It's giving us troubles with the check engine and try and get that cleared so that we can get an inspection. And other than that, it's fine. I have talked to a couple techs, including one that we hired, Scott. And there are a few things in the EVAP system that they would be able to do
Okay,
that will get us time with that truck, because it still has low enough mileage, it's still in decent enough shape. Let's keep it around, but it's just not something that we're equipped with to find. And instead of just throwing parts at it till it fixes.
What do they charge for the diagnostic?
So the diagnostic, I'd have to get the final number on it, but it's not overly expensive to. I think it was like 172 or 2 something to go in, tell us exactly what it
That's
is,
reasonable. No,
and
that's
then,
okay. Yeah.
you know, go and get it done.
without it, we don't get it.
Yeah.
Action.
Pretty much, and that truck still has its usage. And then UCI this weekend, parking, I'm gonna get with the other Rick Preston tomorrow. Just to give him firm up where he has for parking on Saturday with the kids. Soccer event that happens.
So you're going to be roaming around on Saturday, Sunday, I take it,
Yeah, I'll be,
to see how many trailers are hooked up to our power and.
So I was told though, they're not gonna use our parking,
when did they tell you that?
they told Jeremy to cancel all the porta shops, because we don't need it.
Perfect, well, then all I have to worry about is kids.
UCI or-
Campers. I'm worried about campers.
Yeah, where are you gonna
Yeah,
camp?
you're talking about on the airport. part, right?
Correct,
Yeah.
no, I'm talking about Horseshoe,
property.
the
I thought the
straight
camping
campers.
location was the.
Well, it is,
You're worried about road campers.
yeah,
Okay.
No, but
like
they-
I've got two
they-
in front of my house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right now.
the amount of tickets they sold is half of what they expected. So they, yeah, so because we were putting them out the other day and we had 5 on for the horse show and the guy, Vic Preston comes along. and he goes,
weren't
Take 'em back.
there. Well, it's a good thing they
You're
called.
gonna go meet this guy.
I never met him.
You should definitely do that.
My
Yeah,
namesake.
no,
Definitely do that.
His middle initial is M, the same as mine.
He's a good character, I can tell you that. I'm surprised he didn't reach out, so I'm gonna call tomorrow anyway, just so I can be told, like you were told and not told.
Yeah, they don't need it.
Perfect, that makes parking issues down there a lot easier, so we'll just set up.
And MJ did say that last time I asked her that they sold like 5 of the camping spaces on the airport space.
Good.
Oh, okay.
That's-
It's the.
5 that are on the
good.
streets.
Cruising
Yeah.
and making rounds just to make sure that we don't have a rogue camper who didn't wanna be a part of it. That can be pretty simple too, I can shut down that side of it, so if they wanna try to plug in, they can. And then we have the kids soccer this Saturday, which is gonna be busier than UCI apparently.
Yeah, now it will be, yeah, now it will be.
Yeah, for sure. It's pretty crazy. We're gonna get some crosswalks in there, set up some walkways. Cause you got a lot of little kids and a lot of traffic.
Even in practice, sometimes it gets a little dicey.
Yeah,
When there's games.
yeah. So, and we'll have multiple entrances for them as well.
So Glenn.
And then other than
Glenn
that,
wants to join
what's that?
your meeting, but he said he
Unless
could
you have
be the new
questions.
speaker.
Thanks. Thank you for.
Yeah, that's his stuff.
Text you.
He could be the new speaker or if he create.
Two.
Okay, it can be as early or as late as you want.
Call in, but
just
he
want
said he happy to have
Oh, yeah,
it on
so-
speaker.
Yeah, thanks.
I know
for
he's
your
not
time
here
today.
and I don't wanna
Do
wait
you think it's
until
better
Monday to
audio
get
with
to
Zoom?
it. If
Would
we
you rather
could
have me do
look at it
Zoom?
tomorrow and say, yep, it's coming out right then and then. The phone call we made, it'll be gone in 20 minutes, but it's just not
Okay.
feasible, it's not gonna work.
So that's his number.
I got pictures too, so I just need to carry those. All right, every time, fix it.
Do you guys need to wait until the board meeting to decide whether or not you're gonna have them do that trade-in?
Yes.
We do, absolutely.
Oh.
It'd just be nice to go from 2 lawn ornaments to 1,
Yeah,
get
really,
something funky out of it.
yes.
So I'm
Thank you.
Thanks, okay, thanks, Matt.
working on the budget, still plugging numbers, trying to make things work. I did send a new notice to the paper.
Good.
For the workshops to start at 3:30 instead of 2. I'm gonna send out emails to all the department heads saying, please pick 2. You know, first and second choice for your coming to talk to you guys about their budget. Probably I'll do that tomorrow. We switched to paychecks for our first pay for tomorrow. It has been not fun. It's been an issue.
And then, well, the system itself or the,
Just the whole process is
Check
just,
for it.
it's just been a bear, you
Check
know?
come today.
No, they did not.
They did not.
They're supposed to be here tomorrow. That's what we were told, right? Which is another reason to push direct deposit. The only checks that we are waiting on are the ones for the seasonal employees, so next year. With the board's approval, when seasonals come on, we're gonna force them
well, that's
to
a
direct deposit. It's
5 years ago, Kenny said, boom,
It's just gonna be mandatory. We're just gonna say, you don't want direct deposit, then you're not gonna get paid, so you better find a job somewhere else,
Yeah.
because it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
Bottom line, everybody is gonna get paid. Some people might, hopefully the checks will be here tomorrow, we don't know when, cause it's it was supposed to be UPS overnight, so they were supposed to be here today.
did it come out of Rochester?
If you come.
Okay, just
I
curious.
don't know.
Good.
So. Just today, I found 3 errors that happened in our payroll. They're minor, easily fixed. But if somebody contacts you and says our payroll is messed up, please have them call me
Oh, yeah.
because I only know of these 3 specific instances, which is one particular thing that happened for those 3 people.
Okay,
Right, it's just one thing that happened for 3 people that we didn't catch when we were working with the transition.
gotcha.
And really, it's not Paychex' fault, it's more like it was a unique situation we had to have set up in our current payroll in order for it to work. So Paychex is probably like, we don't they wouldn't even know what it was,
Yeah, the
you know what I
system
mean?
doesn't recognize.
Right, but if you hear, or if you have
Yeah.
any issues about payroll, please have them call me tomorrow so that I can figure out what's going on, because as far as I know, everything else worked fine. It's just the physical
I will
check.
check at 8:15 tomorrow morning, and if it's
Okay.
not there correctly, you will get a phone call.
Okay, cause it's just the physical checks and those three individual, the items, that item is the health savings account contribution that the
Oh, it is.
employees make.
Oh,
But
okay.
we only have 3 employees who make them, and Rose is one of them, which is why I found it.
Okay.
So, but
That's
other,
strange, they should be able to catch that.
well, I don't know, it's just one of those
Whatever,
quirky
maybe
things,
it's the root of
so.
something, whatever.
But anyway, unless you guys have any information for me, I mean, we're gonna be talking to each other twice a week for the rest of the month, so.
Can't wait.
Yeah,
I
right?
saw that on the calendar, just got a smile.
What do you budget time? I didn't smile.
Bigger than your usual one?
I grew
Bigger than my.
So I mean, obviously, I don't have anything else besides budget going on in my life right now, so. Unless you have
Everybody
questions.
cooperating? For the most part? Anybody we can help you with, let's put it that way.
You can help me with me.
That's here for now. Turn around.
Growing pains, it's growing pains. No, it's fine. Everything's going all right. It's just, budget time.
Yep.
And I'm not feeling well, so that doesn't help either,
Okay.
so.
Well,
So unless you all have questions for me,
Nope.
I'm out of here.
go home, safe travels,
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
watch for deer.
Don't jinx me.
Heather, you can shut the door, please. I'm really awake right now.
My second mom pickup, sorry, mom pickup.
On my shoulder, I'm glad my shoulder is somewhere and you saw them go.
They were smiling.
Oh.
I think she appreciates the confirmation.
Yeah, they went to school today.
And they left.